What's going on, Nerd Army guys? Welcome to the newest episode of Exploring Comics. Soon you will learn while I'm excited. Now guys, if you saw the title of this video, we are going to be exploring the history and origin of Jonathan Samuel Kent, aka SuperBoy. Now this is SuperBoy from the Super Sons, and I love this series. His series is so good. Him and Damian Wayne love each other, but hate each other and clash and fight and just are awesome. I love it. They remind me of me and my little brother when we were kids, and some of the crazy adventures they get into are just amazing. So guys, just so everyone knows, this was suggested by my man Tevye Smolka. He's been asking me to do this one for a while. So Tevye, here we go, bro. Let's check out the history of John Samuel Kent. Now, John Samuel Kent was born to Lois Lane and Clark Kent during a multiverse cataclysm. Now, just a side note, during the birth, Batman of their universe actually delivered little John. After this event happened, John and his parents were stranded on an Earth that was not their own. They decided to take the last name White, and they would go ahead and live the normal life that they always wanted to live. Now, Jonathan would go on for a long time without having any idea about his parents' past or the fact that his father was moonlighting as a superhero. Now, John and his mother would be kidnapped by Bruno Mannheim. Now, this would be the event that would cause John to realize he inherited powers from his father. Now, slowly, John's powers would begin to manifest. Heat vision was one of the primary ones that manifested for him. The time that it manifested would probably be pretty horrible for John because right at that time, a hawk had swooped down and picked up his family's cat and was flying away with it, and all John wanted to do was save the cat. But yet John blasted his heat vision straight into the air with no control and incinerated the cat and the bird, and all that fell to the floor was part of the cat's collar. At this time, John was completely distraught and hurt and just destroyed on what he had done to his family's cat, just to see a little girl standing by the tree line, watching everything. John would just ignore the little girl, walk away from her, ignore that anything had ever even happened, and go back home. While sitting there, the girl showed up while the family was at dinner and introduced herself as Kathy Brandon, their neighbor. Kathy would go on to become one of John's best friends, up until the time where he moves to Metropolis. Now, one night, John would actually go out on a mission with his dad, and they would fly to the Arctic to save a submarine that was putting out a distress signal. They would save the submarine to only have a giant squid attack them, screaming and pulling down the submarine. But John and his father were there to stop it, Superman and Superboy. Superman would rush in and hold the monster's eye open and tell John, "Blast him with your heat vision." John was completely shocked and stunned that his dad even knew that he had developed his heat vision. His dad would go on to explain that when their heat vision goes off, it leaves a smell in the air, and he smelled it that day that the cat got destroyed. John was terrified to take a shot because his dad was partially in the way. He's like, "No, Dad, I'm going to hit you." And his dad's like, "Don't worry, I can take it." So John just releases and blasts his heat vision, hitting his dad, but blasting the monster straight in the eye. But as John feared, he did hit his dad, but his dad shrugs it off, saying that it's no big deal. But later on, Superman is seen tending to the burns that are left from John's heat vision. Now, if you can leave a mark on Superman, you obviously got some power. But Superman would stand there very impressed at his son's power level. John would go on to meet Damian Wayne, the son of Batman. Now, at first, the two of them were like oil and water, obviously not meshing well together. But eventually they would become very good friends and they would have amazing adventures. Let's talk about a couple of them. Now, I have to say personally, the Super Sons storylines are some of my favorite newer storylines that have come out of DC, period. They're just a lot of fun, great read, and I don't know personally if it's just me, but they're so cool to read. One of my favorite storylines was the Super Sons versus Kid Amazo. Lex Luthor released the Amazo virus into the air. A lot of people were infected, and only about 3% of the people kept their powers. This boy Reggie and his entire family survived. But Reggie did not like that the rest of his family wanted to keep using their powers for other people. He thought they needed to use their powers for themselves. So what Reggie did is he disabled them, depowered them, and broke into LexCorp and stole the Amazo suit and used it to amplify his powers, making tons and tons of copies of himself, but in doing so also tearing his mind apart little by little as he did this, causing him to go crazy. he would actually go so crazy that he would bring the real versions of his family and make them watch as he manufactured clones of them out of machinery and destroyed them and killed them over and over and over just to torture his family. This kid was whacked out. This kid's ultimate plan was to take down the Justice League, absorb all their powers, making him that much stronger and taking over the world. John and Damian, with a little help from his younger sister and Lex Luthor Superman, were able to take Kid Amazo down and put one in the record books for the Super Sons. Another great storyline is when they team up with the Teen Titans, who Damian is a member of and John not really. But they join up with the Teen Titans to take down Krakalo, a magician who was gifted mud from an alternate universe version of himself who uses magic. And this mud is magical. You can mold it into whatever you want. Krakalo from our universe decides to mold it into 3 old villains that people have forgot and use them until the Teen Titans are able to take down his clay versions of these old villains and capture Krakalo. Now, when this is going on, John and Damian come in and decide to start taking some samples of the mud so they can go take it back to the lab and test it. When suddenly a vortex opens to another universe, they are transported and picked up by tentacles, drugged to this other planet, which technically is a living planet who tries to eat you the whole time you're there. Now, the 2 of them were put up against an entire planet, with a couple other heroes thrown in on the side of them to help them out, who they found out were eventually just made of clay anyways. They found this world's Krakalo and made him help them. When at first it looked like he was going to work with the entity to open up a portal and let him go into another world and feed. When he let the head of the entity go through, he slammed the portal shut, cutting his head off, betraying the entity and helping Damian and John defeat the monster. Now, what he did from there is he found them a way home. He opened a portal to their world so they can go home. The 2 of them, while on this planet, were so amazing and so heroic that the remaining heroes would follow their influence into the future, bringing up the next age of young heroes with them as role models, even taking the bat symbol from Damian and the Superman House of L symbol from John and using that as their logo. Isn't that cool? Now, as you can tell, John is a pretty cool hero. He is a young hero. He is learning, and he is having some great adventures that are just a lot of fun alongside his really good friend, Damian. Now, Damian Wayne makes for a funny time in those comics, so definitely don't count him out. But John himself is a great character. Now, what do you guys think about him as a whole, as of right now? Because like I said, we've only scratched the surface. This character is really new, so I'm excited to see all the different adventures we get to see from these guys in the future. Let me know what you guys thought about this Exploring Comics episode down in the comments down below. Like always, if there's any characters you'd like to see me do a history of video for, put it down in the comments down below. But guys, without further ado, make sure you guys hit that like, thumbs up button on this video, subscribe to the channel, and make sure you guys check us out on Teespring. And I'll have all the links for that down in the comments down below, all of our other social media sites, and our Patreon page. And help become a patron to help direct the type of content we have here on the channel in the future. So guys, thank you very much for tuning in. I will see you next time right here on NerdManDrew for another episode of Exploring Comics. All right, guys, peace out.
Yo.